Come on in, welcome to my home. We all make mistakes. That is pretty universal. But what separates us is what we do from those mistakes. And that can really change just about everything. I mean, it's really easy to make a mistake and then just be like, oh, forget it. I'm not even going to bother with trying to correct my mistake. That's a huge problem. That is a huge problem. Because a lot of people make mistakes and then they just live with them. Live with things that they absolutely 100% hate. And why would you do that? That makes absolutely no sense. I mean, I've done it. I've done it lots of times where I've just stuck with something even though it was something that I didn't like. Everything from decorating to, I don't know, cooking, that sort of thing. Because making a mistake can be really hard. There are lots of things which you don't even think about making mistakes until you've made one. Say like the privilege of making a mistake. It can be a massive privilege to be able to make a mistake. Well, how is that even possible? To make a mistake, let's say in something as easy as cooking. You make something and it's just bad. I've done that, I'll admit. I've made something and it was just horrible. But if you don't have the luxury of extra money or extra time, you might be stuck eating that thing which you made that was just bad. And that's a really bad thing. Imagine you're having your dinner and you're choking down whatever it is. Or even worse, you're going somewhere and you were supposed to bring something and it's just bad. You might not have the money to go out and go buy something new or fresh or that sort of thing. So you sort of smile and laugh about it and go, ha 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 ha, didn't work out the way I wanted it to. And that's really sad. I mean, that's super sad with the fact that here you are stuck with this thing which you didn't like and you have to share it with other people. And yeah, you made a mistake. And you're stuck living with that mistake, even though you don't want to be, but that's where you are. Buying something can even be worse. If you buy something, no matter what the cost, expensive, inexpensive, and you hate it, well, there are a couple alternatives. One, you can return that item. Well, that's really cool. Sometimes you can't return that item. That's not really cool. And you're stuck with that item, and a lot of people will buy the item, hate it, and then keep it, displaying it proudly. This thing that they hate out there so that they can spend all that time looking at it and reminding themselves of the mistake that they made. Well, that's handy. I mean, why would you do that to yourself? Well, if you can't return it, you can always sell it, you can always give it away. Yeah, those are always options. But what if you get something as a present and you absolutely hate it? Sell it, give it away, I'm giving you permission. There is no sense in you keeping something that you despise. The same thing holds true with your clothing. Sometimes you will get a piece of clothing and you will just love it. Sometimes you'll get that piece of clothing and it will make you feel uncomfortable, or you just don't want to wear it, or whatever, and you keep it in the back of your closet and it takes up space, and you keep trying to say that you're going to get rid of it, but you spent so much money on it. And you can't get rid of something that you spent lots of money on, can you? Well, yeah, you can. Because your investment doesn't stop with just the purchase. Your investment keeps going. Sometimes your investment is your time, sometimes your investment is storage space, sometimes your investment is just aggravation. You made a mistake. It's okay. We're not going to vote you off the island. And this is where I have my biggest problem, is the fact that we have now created this culture where making mistakes is bad. It's one of the worst things you could ever possibly do. If you make a mistake, you are an absolute failure. And, well, no, you're not. Take, for example, Post-it notes. I do believe I remember this. I'll try to link the article down below in the description. Where Post-it notes were made by an accident. There are lots of things that were made by an accident. This is not what they were supposed to do. It was a mistake. But yet this mistake became something which we use all the time. So it's okay to make mistakes, but we need to learn from our mistakes and go from our mistakes, not just relive the same exact mistakes. One of the things I've never understood is grading children's homework. Okay, hear me out before you jump onto the bandwagon of hating me for this. When a teacher gives homework, they give it to see if you understood the assignment, if you are able to do whatever it is that they've been explaining to you. That's really cool. So this is a whole yes, you understood it, or no, you didn't understand it. That's all it is. It's not an A, B, C, D, or whatever. It's yeah, you grasped it, no, you didn't. So there are two parts of the homework. One, you at least attempted it, and two, you understood it. That should be the only thing that people are looking at when it comes to those sort of things. They shouldn't be looking at, if you were the best in class and you did the best homework, well, no, that doesn't matter. What matters is that you're trying to get it, and then it also gives the teacher the idea of, hey, this is what I didn't explain well, or this is what that person isn't understanding. This comes through with life in general. All the mistakes that you make are probably from things which you might not completely understand. And so it gives you a chance to look back at those things and say, hey, I made that mistake because I was thinking this one thing and it was actually something else, and that's okay. Reevaluate. Every time that you think that you've made a mistake, reevaluate it and see if it really is a mistake. It might not be. It might just be something which you hadn't thought of doing in another way. Say the post-it note. Yeah, the adhesive on the post-it note wasn't as sticky as it was supposed to be, but hey, I could use it for another thing. This is why, as a home channel, I'm talking about this, because if you buy something in your house and it's just hideous for what you bought it for, maybe it's better for something else. Maybe those, I don't know, throw pillows that you bought for your living room will look better as throw pillows on your, I don't know, porch. Maybe that statue that you bought for the garden is something which looks better inside. Look at these things as in, well, what else can I use it for before I just decide I spent all this money on it, I'm just going to get rid of it. I don't know. Maybe you're going to take the whole thing apart and use it for pieces. One of the big things that you can do, especially with things like curtains and dish towels and those sort of things, is take them apart and make them into other things. You can do that with clothing, you can do that with just about anything. Take it apart, see how else you can use it. If you can't return it, or you can't sell it, or you can't give it away, yeah, there's no sense in letting it go to waste, because that way your mistake can actually become something really cool. Now, one of my mistakes that I made was I thought when I started my whole office project that I'd be able to do my office right away, and then bam, the price of wood went up. Boy, did it go up. Like, everything which I want for my office now has almost tripled in price. Yowzers, that's really bad. So I had to put the office project on hold because, well, I can't do that. The other thing about this is, and where this whole video comes about, is I put out a video last week on the soundtrack of your life, your playlist. It didn't do well. It didn't do well at all. Do I love that video? I actually think it's a really good video. But a lot of people didn't watch it, didn't listen to it. I've tried doing different things like different thumbnails, different titles, but I still like the video. Will that video possibly do something in the long run? Possibly. Yeah. Is it a mistake? Well, maybe, maybe not. We'll have to see. But it's something that I can learn from, to say, hey, this probably is not something that people want to see on my channel. But what was interesting is people want to see music playlist. I'm trying to figure out how to do that. But making mistakes is good. We are not a game show. Life is not a game show. I want to stress that, because a lot of people act like it is. A lot of people act like, well, I'm too afraid to do anything because I'm so afraid I'm going to make a mistake, and if I make a mistake, they're going to vote me off the island, and that's it. We are all done. Well, you're not. You're not done at all. You can make mistakes. We learn from the mistakes. The other thing about this, and let me know if you want to hear about this, one of the best ways to learn from a mistake is to journal what you did, how you did it, why you did it, so that way you can figure out where it was a mistake, was it not a mistake. You can plan for things. Instead of just rushing out and doing something, see if you can do a plan for it, so that way you can avoid making some mistakes. Because one of the things which I thought was really interesting, I watched a show that was talking about TV shows, and have you ever noticed that your favorite sitcom, drama, whatever, even though they're all supposed to be modern day or whatever, none of them use trendy styles? There's a reason for it. They want to convey a mood, they want to convey a style, but they don't want to convey a trend, because a trend is dated. Oh, wait, are you thinking that a trend could be a mistake? It may not be. You have to decide. But you have to decide what works for you, because for some of you, everybody painted everything in their house, they made everything in their house white. That was huge. It's dying out. Yeah. And I guess pretty much now people are going for this whole new Art Deco, well, not new, but this whole Art Deco thing. Well, that's really cool, but will it last? I don't know. Are you going to sit back and go, well, I don't want to do that because it won't last, so I'm not going to... Do you like it? If you like it, see how you can incorporate it in your life. See how you can incorporate it in your life without it being a huge, expensive, permanent part of your life if you don't like it that much. But start small. Your mistakes don't have to be gigantic, flamboyant mistakes for the world. Your mistakes can be small little mistakes that you learn from and you grow from and you move on and then see what else you can do. But don't let a mistake stop you. We all make them. Every last person makes mistakes. I don't want you to be a person who doesn't do anything because you're afraid of making mistakes. I'm giving you permission to make all the mistakes that you want to make, as long as you learn from them. As long as you don't stop there, make the mistake, and force yourself to live with horrible mistake. Instead, you're going to force yourself to grow from horrible mistake, learn from horrible mistake, and then change it into a positive. Can you do that? Let me know down in the comments what mistakes you have made, because when it comes to my house and probably my life too, but we won't talk about those, I've made mistakes. I've made big, lasting mistakes. But I'm trying to learn from them, I'm trying to grow from them, I'm trying to become a better person by acknowledging my mistakes and seeing what I can do to correct my mistakes. If I can't do anything to correct my mistakes, I'll just learn from it and go on. But I'm still going to keep trying new things, keep doing new things, because I have the privilege of making that mistake. And don't get me wrong, it is a massive privilege to be able to make mistakes and go from there. Because a lot of times we see people who don't do things because they can't afford to make a mistake. So don't beat them up because they don't do different things. It literally could be for that. Well, let me know what you think about that down in the comments. And I'd like to take this time to thank these wonderful patrons who help me make these types of videos, that we talk about these things. There are lots of things which happen on Patreon. In fact, right now, I'm asking for ideas for videos from my patrons. So let me know what you think about that. Let me know what you'd like to see, and I hope I get to see you the next time you stop by.